Hello, and welcome back to Wenzel's World this evening, or morning, whichever the case may be, what time you're listening. Well, I got my Peterson pipe out tonight. It's the Peterson system pipe with the P lip. And within it this evening, which it's evening. I keep saying that because I know it's dark and I know it's cold outdoors. And I'm smoking this evening some Peterson's Deluxe Navy Rolls. And boy, that's got a good taste to it. Strength is just right to suit me. I like something in the evening time that's got a little kick to it. Helps me to relax. So, anyway. So, I guess you're getting ready for Thanksgiving. Give thanks right now. That's the attitude, In all things, give thanks. So, well, I just fired that up a while ago. So, I'm going to use this tamper right here to mash this down with a little bit and put a little more flame to it because I've just now got it filled up. Try to get it cranked up here directly. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Now, you can probably sit back and start mm, just smoking it now. Oh, yeah. I think I got it lit good now. Well, I got to thinking about something one day last week whenever I was taking my tamper and tamping some of this ash down a little bit. I I wondered. I thought, wonder when they started using tampers. Have you ever thought about it? The but you probably got some if you studied in a little bit. Maybe you studied the origins of tobacco. In history when people started cultivating and well in Jamestown here they cultivated in Jamestown, Virginia, and shipped a bunch of tobacco over to England back, in the colony era. So that was a big cash crop for Virginia and Jamestown and so forth and all. And you might have studied some about pipes and things like that, Again, back in them colonial days, they used clay pipes. I don't have a clay pipe. I should have picked one up when I was in Williamsburg, Virginia last summer. There was one there. It wasn't very expensive. I think it was less than $20. I should have got one, but anyway, I didn't do it. They'd be good about sampling tobacco with. But I got to thinking about it. I thought, I wonder when they started using Tampers. And I thought, these old tobacco stores, there's one in Chicago. Can't remember the name of it. But there's an old tobacco store, pipe tobacco, and the store there sell pipes and tobacco and cigars and things. I never been there, but anyway, I can't think of the name of it. It's probably the oldest one we got in existence here in the States. And I got to thinking, I thought, now I wonder when they started selling Tampers. Is that something that's always been? And so then I went to my phone. I couldn't find anything. The phone, that's what I'm making this on. I do everything with this cell phone. Make these, it's a camera. I make these videos with it and everything. And I didn't find anything. I eventually did, but so, because I remember my granddaddy, when I remember seeing him smoke a pipe, the only way I remember him doing any tamping was with his thumb, like that right there. You say, well, didn't that burn you? No, because pipe's gone out again. If the pipe hadn't have gone out and it still had fire in there, yes sirree, it'd have burnt me. But you can when you can be smoking it, and if you got enough ash build up, you can still tamp it with your finger, or if you don't mind getting ash all over it. I got that, and I don't have a Kleenex or a rag or nothing over here. You said wipe them on your britches. Well, these clothes I got on are clean clothes, and I don't really want to do that. So, but anyhow, you can, while you're smoking, after you smoked it down a piece and all that ash is built up, if you haven't poured it out, you can take your finger or your thumb and tamp it down and everything. Ain't a pinch, especially if you ain't got a tamper. Of course, I've made me up some tampers. If I lose it, it don't make a lot of difference. This is one right here. It's just made out of a stick. So I use it for a tamper. Matter of fact, of course, I just tamped it down with my thumb, didn't I? So I got to wondering about tamper. My granddad, he didn't use tampers, but I don't remember everything back in them days. I'm thinking, back in the early 1960s when I was a little boy. And I remember my granddaddy smoking. I'd get up on his lap. He'd be smoking this bent stem pipe. And I'd be sitting on his lap and he'd put the pipe up to me and I'd puff on it. I saw what he'd do and I just do the same thing, just draw it in a little and blow it out. And there was another old man that lived down there in Chapel Hill. He run the feed store and bought fur in the winter from the trappers around the area. His name was Harry Joyce. He always smoked a bent stem pipe like that. I don't remember him using tampers. But my granddaddy is still lit. He used matches, kitchen matches. I wonder maybe he might have tamped down when he got through lighting it and blew it out. He could have took that there match and done it. Might have used something else. Who knows, maybe he carried a nail in his pocket. A little stick or something. I don't know. But so I got to one. I thought, now when did they first come out with tampers? I thought maybe it was a modern thing. Well, it's not. And I finally did find something on the computer. I just wondered, about a couple of them stores. I called a couple of tobacco stores. And one of them, they didn't really, They didn't follow my reasoning, so I didn't get anywhere with them. I'm not going to call the name, you'd know it. And another one I got a hold of, and the fellow that answered the phone said he's got a tamper collection, and he really never thought about it either. And he looked up on his phone, and I tell you who I called and got the information from. I called the Gatlin Burlier. And I thought maybe the dreaded Tiger would know. Well, the first one I talked to was a fellow that had tamper collection. He said he didn't know. So he gave the phone to the dreaded Tiger, and we talked a little bit about it and this and that. And so while we were talking, while the fellow that answered the phone, he went to his computer or something and found, if you type in history of pipe tobacco tampers or history of pipe tampers or something like that. So I got to reading up on it some. They used to call them pipe stoppers. Pipe stoppers. We call them, tampers in our day and time. There's all kinds of them. I got I got this one here. Matter of fact, that one there came from the Gatlin Burley. I ordered a meerschaum pipe, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and I don't know, it's either 2 or 4 ounces of different types of tobacco from them. And they sent me the pipe, of course, and this here called a check tool. And you know what it is. So, but the first thing I got to noticing about the Tampers and all, they made them fancy. They made them out of metal or some type of metal of some kind. Peter, I think, made it out of that. And I think they said made them out of gold, silver, and things like that. Wouldn't it be nice to have one about that size made out of solid gold? I guess you wouldn't want to let nobody know you had it, but anyway. There was one found, and they got to doing some research, and there's some people that showed some pictures on there, drawings, and some pictures too of tampers where they had looked like maybe what you call figurines or something. And here in our day and time, there are people, I don't have any of those kind of tampers, but in our day and time, there are people that are making tampers, and they got some type of animal or an insect or some type of person or somebody's the famous president's head or something. And they've been making tampers like that since the 1500s. So tampers are nothing new. And don't take this to the bank, okay? Don't think that this is really the way it is, but I'm going to take a stab in the dark, and I'm going to say that the tamper is just about just as old as the pipe, okay? If somebody got to smoke in a pipe and the ash build up, and they tried to pour the ash out, and they tried to do something with it, and they tried to relight and light it, and if you don't get rid of that ash buildup, it's real. After you get it on down, it's real hard to light that thing. It's good to have some ash. It keeps you from scorching the tobacco. Now, I know that sounds peculiar to put it that way. And really, technically, I don't know any other better way to put it. You say scorch it, well, you're burning up the tobacco. Yeah, I know. But really, you're getting your flavors as it goes down. That's why when you get on down here a pretty good piece, you don't it gets real strong, like a cigar. You know, I ain't smoked a cigar in years, but when I was young, I smoked cigars and cigarettes and pipe tobacco and marijuana and hashish and just, you know, put that in front of me, I smoke it. Rolled cigarettes out of tubular tobacco and all. You know how it is. But the further you get down, you know, with a cigar or a cigarette and with the pipe, you know, the stronger it's going to be down of that tobacco. Well, but so what you're getting some flavors from up in here when you first get it started, and you got that. So that you've got to start doing something with that. And one thing that the tamper does then, is, of course, is to tamp that ash down, where you can get some flame to your tobacco that's in there. And then also you can move that ash around a little bit like that right there and pour some of it out and relight. Tampers are handy, like that one, that check tool. They're called check tool. And then you got one like this one. Now this one here came from Papa Bear and a gall that I won that he had for his channel. And I tell you one thing I like about this, you may not be able to see it, but it's got holes in it. Okay, little old holes is in that. And when you're sitting there drawing, you're drawing then, tamping and drawing some air through those little holes. Now that is a good invention. Something else this little tamper does, you can unscrew it. And then you got this little digger where you can either stick it down in there, and if you pack it real tight and you can't draw right, you can stick that down in there and create some air chamber. That helps if you don't pack it real tight. You know, but it's a good digger when you get down there to get that down at the bottom down here. That's called dottle, and you get that dottle out of there with that little digger. So that's a handy little old tamper there. And pipe's going out again. I make that one. That stick's got a little crook to it. And I made it where you could tamp on this end, and that end is a digger. You can dig it out, dig your dottle out with that right there. I got them strolled around here and there. I'll sit in here and smoke in the winter time. Sit out there in the shop. I got tampers and things like that. This one here I usually keep out there. That was given to me by the Carolina Rose. So you got that one. And I didn't bring it in here, but I've got some nails. And I did that the same way. I took a nail, like a 10-penny nail, and I think I got one that's an 8-penny nail. Took a hammer on an anvil in there, and I flattened out that end of the nail. And then I took, and I didn't try to bend this, and I don't know what that's made out of, but I took that nail and I bent that a little bit out here. Of course, you know what's on the end of the other nail? Your tamper. So I've got a couple of nails. If I lose them, you know, I got nails. And so there's just different type of tampers. And so this tamper here, that's just I don't know what caliber round that is. I don't remember now. But I put that on a stick. And so I can tamp with that little thing. So, you know, it's one day last week, I just got to thinking, I was tamping, I thought, well, I just wonder if Tampers are a modern invention from the 19 something and they started selling them. No, from what I've been able to find, Tampers have always been. Ever since it's been pipe smoking, there's been a tamper of some kind. And they haven't been these primitive things that I make and come up with over here. They've been some sharp looking tampers. Well, I guess I've gone long enough talking about my study in tampers. It was interesting to me. So I'm going to get off here and I'll sit here and finish it. I've only smoked down about that far. So I'll sit here and I'll think back and remember. I'll think about where I am and what I'm doing and remember what I did today. Plan on some things I need to do tomorrow and the next day and next week and so on. So I'll sit here and think back and reflect on that and now and the future. So until we meet again, adios.